watching this video, there are a few things you need to know. First, place value. Not only do you need to be familiar with place value to the left of the decimal, the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, but also place value to the right of the decimal point, tenths, hundredths, thousandths. You also need to know how to divide multi-digit numbers. For example, you should be able to divide 650 and 50. Finally, you need to be able to multiply decimals. Now, if these concepts are brand new for you, that's okay. We've got videos that will get you to this point. Feel free to watch any of the previous videos on place value, division, and multiplying decimals, and then come back to this one. Now, if these concepts are somewhat familiar to you, let's give it a go. Welcome to Roxy's Revelations. I'm your host, Mrs. B. Today we're going to be talking about decimals, and we're going to be looking at how to divide decimals. Now, just to review, a decimal is a part of a whole. Take 85 hundredths for example. 85 is the part, and 100 is the whole. We have 85 out of 100 of something. Now what about 125 thousandths? Can you guess what the part is? If you said 125, that's correct. Now what about the whole? If you said 1,000, that's correct. We have 125 out of 1,000 of something. Decimals are all around us. We see decimals when we change the radio to our favorite station. We see decimals when we use our navigation and GPS. We see decimals when we take our temperature with a digital thermometer. Today we're going to be looking at dividing decimals, which is very similar to dividing whole numbers, numbers that you've been dividing for a few years now. The difference is the number being divided, our dividend, is going to have a decimal point to separate our wholes from our parts. During this lesson, you'll hear me use the words dividend, divisor, and quotient. So what do those words mean? Let's look at a problem together. 24 divided by 3 equals 8. In this problem, 24, our number being divided, is our dividend. 3, the number that is dividing 24, is our divisor. And 8 is our answer or our quotient. Here's another way to look at it. 24 divided by 3 equals 8. 24 is our dividend. It's the number being divided. 3 is our divisor. It's the number that's dividing 24. And 8, again, that's our quotient. It's our answer. Great job. Let's do a problem together. Read the problem to yourself as I read it aloud. Remember to use place value as you read. 4 and 72 hundredths divided by 8. This would be like saying I spent $4.72 on 8 small bags of chips. Our quotient or our answer will tell us how much one small bag of chips costs. Are you ready to divide and find our quotient? Let's do it together. Now the first thing we need to do is bring up our decimal point. If we were to forget to account for this decimal point, that would be like saying I spent $472 on 8 small bags of chips. Those would be very expensive chips. After we account for our decimal, we can divide as usual. So let's go ahead and do it. How many times can 8 go into 4? 0. It's too big. So we write the 0. Now we haven't used this 4 yet, so we're going to see how many times 8 will go into 47. How many times do you think 8 can go into 47? If you said 5, that's correct. So we will write the 5. 5 times 8 is 40. So we're going to subtract our 40. And when we do, we have 7 remaining. Now, just like when we divide whole numbers, we're going to bring that next number down. So we'll bring our 2 down. Now, how many times can 8 go into 72? If you said 9, that's correct. We'll write the 9, and 9 times 8 is 72. We'll subtract 72, and we're left with 0 remaining. In this problem, our dividend was 4 and 72/100. Our divisor was 8. Please help me read our quotient. 0 and 59/100. Or you can also say 59/100. The 0 doesn't change the value of 59/100. Let's check our work. Now, anytime you do a division problem, you can always check your work by doing a multiplication problem, because multiplication is the opposite of division. Let's look at problem 1. In problem 1, we had a dividend of 4 and 72/100. Our divisor was 8, and our quotient or answer was 59/100. Now, if we were to multiply our quotient and our divisor, we should end up with our dividend. Now, you already know how to multiply decimals, so let's go ahead and multiply these decimals to check our work. 59/100 times 8. 8 times 9 is 72. We write the 2, carry the 7. 8 times 5 is 40, plus 7 is 47. Now, what's the last thing we need to do? If you said account for your decimal point, you're correct. We have 1, 2 numbers to the right of our decimal in 59/100, and none to the right of our decimal in 8. So we're going to move our decimal point 2 places to the left. 1, 2, and we'll rewrite our final answer. 4 and 72/100. Now, does that match our original dividend? It does. So we know that we're correct and that our quotient is 59/100. Great job. Let's do another problem together. Read the problem to yourself as I read it aloud. Remember to use place value as you read. 36 and 84/100 divided by 12. Now, can you tell me what the dividend in this problem is? If you said 36 and 84/100, that's correct. What about the divisor? If you said 12, that's correct. Now, are you ready to divide and find our quotient? Let's do it together. Now, what's the first thing we need to do? If you said bring up the decimal point, that's correct. We don't want to forget about that guy. Then we're just going to divide as usual. How many times can 12 go into 3? It can't, right? So we'll put a 0. How many times can 12 go into 36? 3. We'll write the 3, and 3 times 12 is 36. So we'll subtract 36, and we're left with 0. Now, just like with dividing whole numbers, we need to bring down the next number. So we'll bring down our 8. Can 12 go into 8? Nope. Another 0. We'll bring down our 4. And how many times can 12 go into 84? If you said 7, that's correct. 7 times 12 is 84. We'll subtract 84, and we get 0. Now read with me our final quotient. 3 and 7/100. Now remember, anytime we do a division problem, we should always check our work with multiplication. Let's do that together. Now, to check our work with division, we can multiply our quotient by our divisor to see if we get our original dividend. In this case, our quotient is 3 7/100, and our divisor is 12. So let's go ahead and multiply the two and see if our product matches our original dividend. 2 times 7 is 14. Write the 4, carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. Now we need a placeholder. We're done with our ones place and moving on to our tens place. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 0 is 0. And 1 times 3 is 3. Let's add these together to get our final product. 4 plus nothing is 4. 1 plus 7 is 8. 6 plus 0 is 6. And 3 is 3. Now what's the last thing we need to do? If you said account for the decimal, you're correct. We have 1, 2 numbers to the right of our decimal in 3 7/100, and 0 numbers to the right of our decimal in 12. So we're going to move our decimal point 2 places to the left, 1, 2, and rewrite our product. 36 and 84/100. Great job. Are you ready to try an even more challenging problem? If so, keep watching. If not, that's okay. Feel free to restart this video or view any of the previous videos so you're ready to move on. Okay, here we go. Read the problem to yourself as I read it aloud. 93 and 68/100 divided by 16. Now what's the first thing we need to do? If you said bring up the decimal point, you're correct. We don't want to forget about that guy. And now we're just going to divide as usual. How many times can 16 go into 9? 0. What about 93? It can go in 5 times. Now, what if you didn't know that 16 could go into 93 5 times? Well, you could try multiplication problems to the side. 16 times 3, 16 times 4, and see how close you can get to 93 without going over. You can also multiply within the problem. 5 times 6 is 30. We write the 0, carry the 3. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8. And then we subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3, and 9 minus 8 is 1. Now we know that 16 can't go into 93 one more time because there's not enough remaining. So we're right in saying that 16 can go in 5 times. Now we'll bring down our 6. How many times can 16 go into 136? It can go in 8 times. We'll write the 8, and then let's multiply and figure out what our product is. 8 times 6 is 48. We write the 8, carry the 4. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. 6 minus 8, we can't do that. We need to borrow from our 3, it becomes a 2, and we add 10 to our 6. Now we have 16 minus 8, which is 8. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 1 minus 1 is 0. Our last step is bringing down that other 8. How many times can 16 go into 88? Well, we know that 16 times 5 is 80, so 5 times. We subtract 80. We're left with 8 remaining. Now, because we're dividing decimals, we need to work this out all the way. We're not going to have a remainder. So in this case, we need to add a 0. Adding a 0 to our dividend doesn't change the value of our dividend because the 0's at the end. So we can add a 0, bring it down. How many times can 16 go into 80? 5 times. 5 times 16 is 80, and we get 0 remaining. Let's read our final quotient together. 5 and 855 thousandths. Now remember, when you're doing division, you should always check your work with multiplication. Let's check our work together. Now to check our work, we're going to multiply our quotient and our divisor. And when we do so, we should get our dividend. 5 and 855 thousandths times 16. 6 times 5 is 30. We write the 0, carry the 3. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 3, 33. We write the 3 and carry the other 3. 6 times 8 is 48, plus 3 is 51. We write the 1, carry the 5. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 5 is 35. We need a placeholder. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 8 is 8. And 1 times 5 is 5. Now let's add these numbers so we can get our final product, which should match our dividend. 0 plus nothing is 0. 3 plus 5 is 8. 1 plus 5 is 6. 5 plus 8 is 13. We write the 3, carry the 1. 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 1 is 9. Our last step, accounting for the decimal. We have 1, 2, 3 digits to the right of our decimal in 5 and 855 thousandths, and no digits to the right of our decimal in 16. So we're going to move our decimal point 1, 2, 3 places to the left. 1, 2, 3. And we're going to drop that final 0 because it doesn't change the value of our product. Let's rewrite our new answer, 93 and 68 hundredths. And that does match our dividend. Great job. Congratulations, you've made it to problem 4. There's only one problem left, and then the bonus word problem with Roxy. Hang in there, we're almost done. Read the problem to yourself as I read it aloud. 273 and 100th divided by 25. Great job. Now go ahead and complete this problem on your own. When you see the word pause appear on your screen, click pause. When you've got your answer, click play. Now don't forget to check your work. Good luck. Are you ready to check your answer? Let's see how you did. You should have gotten 10 and 9,204 10,000ths. If you did, great job. Feel free to continue on to Roxy's word stories. If you didn't, that's okay. Let's go over the problem together. Now, what's the first thing we need to do? If you said bring up the decimal point, that's correct. Now let's divide as usual. How many times can 25 go into 2? 0. What about 27? 1 time. 1 times 25 is 25. Let's subtract 25 from 27. 7 minus 5 is 2, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Let's bring down our 3. Now, can 25 go into 23? No, it can't. So we'll write a 0, and we're going to bring down our next 0. Can 25 go into 230? It can. 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. we write the 5 and carry the 4. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 4 is 22. Let's subtract. We have 0 minus 5. We can't do that, so we need to borrow from the 3. It becomes a 2, and we add 10 to our 0. 10 minus 5 is 5. 2 minus 2 is 0, and 2 minus 2 is 0. Now we'll bring down our 1. How many times can 25 go into 51? Twice. So we write the 2. 2 times 5 is 10. We write the 0, carry the 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. Let's subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1, and 5 minus 5 is 0. Now, I still have 1 remaining, but because we're dividing decimals, I can't have anything remaining. So I'm going to add a 0 and bring it down. Now, can 25 go into 10? It can't, so I have another 0. I'm going to add one more 0 and bring it down. Can 25 go into 100? 4 times. 4 times 5 is 20. We write the 0, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. And when we subtract, we have 0 remaining. Let's read our final quotient together. 10 and 9,204 10,000s. Now remember, we always need to check our work. So let's check our work together. To check our work, we're going to multiply our quotient and our divisor, and we should end up with our dividend. Let's do it together. 10 and 9,204 10,000s times 25. 5 times 4 is 20. Carry the 2. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 2 is 2. 5 times 2 is 10. We write the 0, carry the 1. 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46. We write the 6, carry the 4. 5 times 0 is 0, plus 4 is 4, and 5 times 1 is 5. Let's add a placeholder. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 0 is 0. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 9 is 18. We write the 8. We carry the 1. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1, and 2 times 1 is 2. Let's add these together to find our final product. 0 plus nothing is 0. 2 plus 8 is 10. We write the 0, carry the 1. 0 plus 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. 6 plus 4 is 10. We write the 0, carry the 1. 4 plus 8 is 12, plus 1 is 13. We write the 3, carry the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. And 2 plus nothing is 2. Now what's the last thing we need to do? Account for that decimal. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 digits to the right of our decimal, and no digits to the right of our decimal in our bottom number. So we're going to move our decimal point 4 places to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let's rewrite our product. 273 and 100th. Great job. It's now time for Roxy's word problem of the day, which we like to call Roxy's Word stories. Let's read today's word story together. Roxy and her dad go to the store to buy party favors for Roxy's upcoming birthday party. She has $20 to spend on favors, and her dad says he will cover the cost of tax. 6 of Roxy's friends have RSVP'd that they're coming to the party. Roxy sees some funky headbands on sale for $3.25 per pack. Will Roxy have enough money to buy each of her friends their own pack? See if you can help Roxy with her revelation. Click pause and start the video when you're ready to help Roxy. Good luck! Welcome back. So does Roxy have enough money to buy a pack of headbands for each of her 6 friends? If you said yes, you're correct. Roxy has $20 to spend on party favors, and she has 6 friends that have RSVP'd. When we divide the two, we get approximately $3.33 that Roxy can spend on each friend. A pack of headbands costs $3.25, so she definitely has enough to buy each friend a pack of headbands. Now, if you didn't get this answer, that's okay. Let's go over it together. Now, the first thing we need to do is bring up our decimal point. Then we're going to divide as usual. How many times will 6 go into 2? 0. What about into 20? 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We'll subtract 0 minus 8. We can't do that, so we need to borrow from our 2. That becomes a 1, and we add 10 to our 0. 10 minus 8 is 2. We'll bring down our next 0. How many times can 6 go into 20? 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We'll subtract again. We borrow from the 2. It becomes a 1. We add 10 to our 0. 10 minus 8 is 2. We bring down our other 0. 6 goes into 20 3 times. 3 times 6 is 18. We subtract. We get 2. Now we're out of zeros, but we need to keep working this problem out. We'll add another 0. How many times does 6 go into 20? 3 times. We subtract 18. Do you see a pattern? The 3 is going to continue forever. Now what we want to know is how much money Roxy can spend on one friend. We're going to get rid of the other 3's because we only need to go out to the hundredths place. Because when we talk about money, our wholes are our dollars and our parts are our cents, and we only go out to 1/100th of a cent. So Roxy has approximately $3.33 to spend on each of her friends. Now the headbands cost $3.25 per pack. So Roxy has enough to buy each of her friends 1 pack of headbands. Great job. I hope you've enjoyed our time together and feel even more comfortable dividing decimals than you did before. If decimals are still a little fuzzy for you, that's okay. Feel free to watch this video or any of the previous videos again to get you to this point. If you feel good about the work we've done today, congratulations. You're ready to move on to Dividing Decimals Part 2. See you next time.